Hi everybody, my name is Vicky Hanna and this is week 2 of CHCDIV001, our live class for the Diploma of Alcohol and Other Drugs. I'm your relief trainer for tonight and let's get started. So I'd like to do the acknowledgement to country in the spirit of reconciliation. Hayter Institute of Education acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first inhabitants of this nation and the traditional custodians of the land on which we live, work and study. We express our gratitude for the sharing of this land, our sorrow for the personal, spiritual and cultural costs of that sharing, and hope that we may move forward together in harmony and in the spirit of healing. We pay our respect to all First Nation people and acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. And I extend this acknowledgement out to anyone in our Hayter learner community who may be watching this recording, who cannot make it to classes, but are still progressing through their studies as well. So I hope you've had a great week. And we are in week 2 of this unit. There are 3 weeks. Next week, in week 3, we'll be working our way through assessments. So the skills will be actually doing the role plays in classes next Wednesday night. And you're invited to that. If you just contact our learner support officers, they will make sure that you've got a link to get into class if you're doing those studies and you get this recording, and that would be of value for you. This is a great opportunity. It is an assessor-led role play, so you would need to book an assessor for that. So just a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of Zoom etiquette. For me, in a pre-recording like this, we held our class live and had our rich discussion, but in the recording, you are managing that space. So just be mindful that some of the topics that we talk about can be triggering. Even though for somebody else it may not seem a complex issue, you may have a lived experience or you may have someone close to you who has been through this. So take care, manage that. I'll just move on to our next slide because I wanted to just cover, even though this is session 2, I just wanted to cover the overall arching understanding knowledge questions that sit around this are covered in your slides. So you've got session 1, session 2 and session 3 slides. You also have a full recording of more than an hour covering every one of those 3 sessions for you. The live class recordings are based on what we've discussed in our classes, what would be the most helpful for you to progress your studies. So I hope that's representative also of those of you who are studying independently at your own pace. So I'll be in this space as a relief trainer for the next 2 more weeks. So last night and next Wednesday and the Wednesday after, I'll be commencing a brand new unit for you until your trainer returns back. So the culture, society, socialisation, social norms, social roles and classes in Australia, poverty and disadvantage and cultural awareness will make people who are identified as diverse or minority groups in Australia. They are protected under our laws, and your laws may be different in states and territories. So I just wanted to open that up for us a little bit there and take you through what it is this unit will cover, and also to go through some of our assessments as well. That's what our class was hoping that we would cover, and that's what I would like to do for you. Okay, great. So what I've got open here is what I see in my porthole, Accelerate, which we all work on together. You'll see up the top here that it's got CHCDIV001, that's the name of your unit, and the description of the unit is work with diverse people. Task 1 is an online quiz. So it just gives you an overview here. Where are the answers to this? They'll be in the pre-recording and they'll be in your learner's guide. And also you'll have a full copy of the slides as well that your trainers use. I'm also going to be doing in our recording just some toolbox talks, which are ones that we bring from the sector to you. It's relevant to the questions that get asked in our live classes, and that's this recording is based on what the class have asked to have added into that toolbox for them to be able to attempt their assessments, and I'm hoping that those watching the recording, it will help you as well. So here you have 13 questions. And when you go into it, it'll be under your learnings to do in your porthole. Some of them will be multiple choice like this. Here it's asking you, what is the definition of diversity? And you can see there that it's item 1 or question 1 out of the 13 questions. You'll just click on one of those, whichever is the answer that you believe it is. Now you get 3 attempts at your assessments, and you can get more. There's absolutely no penalty whatsoever. But if you don't get an answer correct, don't worry about it. You'll get a message that says try again, and inside your results you might get 12 out of 13 correct. You'll have some feedback sitting there. Now that feedback is meant to guide you, and we hope it does. But if it's not clear, make sure that you ask your learner support officers, can they clarify that, or have a trainer respond to you and give you a little bit more information if you need it. I'm hoping though that we're giving you good feedback, and that's going to be able to assist you there. Okay, so task 1 is a quiz. Most of our task 1s are quizzes. Let me pause and I'll take you into task 3. Now we're up to task 2, or T2 of 4, meaning there's 4 assessment tasks for you to do. The T just stands for task. And just the overview around this is task 2 is a research project. It tells you in the summary that it's asking you your main areas of research are around the different culture, the groups in Australia. Have a look at the National Australian Bureau of Statistics to get that data. And then also go to your local area where you hope to be working as a worker, or you may already. What are those services available to you? What is the mix and diversity in your community, so that you have good knowledge around that? You'll also be asked to look at Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture, which is Australia's First Nation, and the impact of diversity on life and work in Australia. The resources and equipment that you need, you'll need access to the internet and do your research, and you'll need to make sure that your research is evidence-based. What happens if you get something wrong? You will get your feedback. We can open as many attempts to this work as you would like. So what I'd like to do now, because we're in week 2, session 2, is I would like to show you just some sector notes, a toolbox talk around task 2. And I'm hoping that that will give you some assistance. Okay, these are just notes. You won't have these notes, but I'm going to show them to you on screen. This is just a toolbox talk, not a tool K-box talk. Let me fix that for us in real time. So a toolbox talk is just information that comes from sector. It's current, it's what workers use in their day-to-day. But this is specifically to assist you around the key learnings and some of the knowledge and skills evidence that you're going to need to demonstrate in your research project. So your unit is the same, CHCDIV001. It's only a sample, but it's to give you some assistance and some guidance around what do we look for in a research and how much is enough for you. I wanted to just show you just an example of one and the key things that you need to have inside your research project to be able to complete it. It will be done in your own words. And then, of course, if you draw information from credible, reliable sources, just reference that at the bottom of it. So in the part A, so there's part A and part B to this task 2, it just says explain how diversity has impacted Australia's ever-changing economic, employment, social, cultural and political landscape, and write at least one paragraph for each of those areas. And we give you those prompts in your porthole. But your responses must be at least one paragraph, not just one line or a couple of words. You need to have done some research, gained some knowledge, and then to support that with your references of where did you get that evidence with what it is that you're claiming. So some of the aspects to look at are trade, business, communication. In the details, you'll need to cover stronger relationships with other countries because we've got trade happening, business growth opportunities to export and maybe import, and exchange business. Uh, Communication, greater links for communication between nations. And of course, e-commerce, there is no distance. Everything just happens very quickly. And the global approach around this is we can be talking to somebody in a completely different country very easily now, whereas 20, even 30 years ago, that wasn't as clear. What are the changes that we're experiencing? And what does diversity have to do with that? So it's just an overview of what are the aspects and some details around it. Just a few more of those. You'll get this in a recording, so you'll be able to pause it. There's some tips there for you, and I'm hoping that they're helpful. So there's quite a big impact diversity has in our community. Just business, not just education. What brings us together? Here's some examples under the headings that you'll need to add your own words to. So, what's the economic impact? What's some ideas around employment? There's positives and negatives to this as well. If you want that reflective approach in your research, you could make that about strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. You can approach this like a SWOT analysis, the good things about being a diverse country and the things that have changed that landscape economically and in employment as well. For us as workers, our clients may be impacted either positively or negatively. We need to have an understanding of what that might be like. And that's the purpose behind task 2 for you. Social impact, cultural, political. So it isn't just something that we look at and go, oh, I really enjoy that because it's different. We look at it because it is different. And then those differences, we adapt to them. Part B is asking you that at least 2 paragraphs write about at least 5 out of that list there. So at least 5 short paragraphs from that. I've got 7 up there, but there can be more, but 5 would be sufficient. That's your part B. I've just given you some prompts, haven't given you a paragraph, but I think 2 paragraphs to each of those 5 will give your research project some depth. It'll make it evidence-based and you will need to back it up with percentages. So what is the cultural mix in your postcode? Likely where you're working. It's a really interesting research to find out. And some tips for you is just refer to your state or territory laws, which does apply and which does not. Remember to reference your work and you must be able to have it verified by your assessor. So if you're getting something off in a website, make sure you've got the link and you've added that there. Put the www in there, the homepage for them. And then if it's a publication or a book or some other resource that you got, make sure that you've got the date that it was published, the author of who wrote that as well. So I'm hoping that just that brief summary, and you'll be able to stop and pause this, part A and part B will guide you of what is enough for you in that research project, and to just give you a little bit of a radar, help you find your North Star with the toolbox talk around that. Hope you found that helpful. And I'll do another small part for us next week in live classes, but I'm definitely inviting you to attend those if you would like to have an assessor-led role play for task 3.